Hello, and welcome to season 2 of Fractional Futures, where in each episode, I'm chatting to fractional leaders across the globe to get their perspectives on how the fractional leadership model is being embraced by the business landscape. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Sofiane Morouche. I hope I pronounced that right.
Sofiane Morouche,
who operates as a fractional CMO in Thailand, and he's also part of the Growth Connect network in the Asia Pacific region. Hi, Sofiane. Welcome to the show. I believe you're currently in France at the moment. Are you there for the Olympics, or are you avoiding Paris like many Parisians do this time of year?
Yeah, it happens that I'm currently in France for my yearly trip. So I live in Thailand. I'm based in Bangkok, but I come to France once a year to see the family. And it happens that it's happening at the same time as the Olympics. But yeah, I tend to avoid Paris at the moment because traffic is chaos. Everything is super expensive due to the Olympics, so I just watch on TV.
Let's just go straight into your background. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your marketing background before you became a fractional CMO?
Yeah, sure. So I've got about 17 years of marketing experience, and the funny thing is that I started in traditional marketing, which what we can call traditional marketing, which is marketing at the point of purchase. And I used to be a trade marketing manager. If you remember, 17 years ago, digital marketing was not that developed at that time. It was really the very beginning of websites, social networks, online ads. And so we were mostly doing marketing at the point of purchase. So when people are inside the store. And I started my career just after graduating from a French business school. I started my career as a trade marketing manager, and I worked in trade marketing, so in retail marketing for 5 years before I switched and I shifted to digital marketing.
How did you discover the fractional model? Why did it appeal? Why did you switch from being an employee to a fractional?
Yeah, so in my career over the 17 years, I had a chance to be an employee, and I had a chance to be an entrepreneur as well. So I kind of know both sides of the table. I worked for a company, and I run my own companies. So I came across the concept of fractional leader a bit by chance. I relocated to I never worked in France in my whole life. I spent the first 10 years of my career in Dubai, and then I relocated to Thailand. So I've got kind of very intentional profile. And when I was in Thailand, I started to look for a job. It was post-COVID. I started to look for a job, and I came across this position of fractional CMO. I knew what the CMO was, but I never knew what the fractional CMO was. And yeah, that's how I came across this role a couple of years ago.
And what was it about the fractional model, or the fractional work style that appealed to you? Because it is kind of a new thing, isn't it? What was it that really grabbed your attention?
Well, what I really liked about it is the fact that you can work for several clients and several industries at the same time. So it's not like a typical job scenario where you are working, first of all, in an office under a company umbrella. And so you are dedicated to a company, probably to a brand, and for sure to an industry. And what appealed to me is that by becoming a fractional, I would get the chance to work for more than one company at a time, more than one industry, more than one brand, product, or service. And I think that keeps your working life quite exciting and allows you to see much more things than being in a conventional.
When it came to the transition from what you were doing before becoming a fractional to a fractional, were there any challenges that you had to overcome, I guess, on a personal or financial level to switch into that portfolio career?
I would say that probably two challenges. One was, how am I going to manage my time, knowing that I'm going to work for several companies or businesses at the same time? And I'm sure that's a challenge that a lot of fractional come across. So I was not sure if because so far I was always dedicated to just one business or one company or one brand. I was not sure whether I was going to be able to manage and to juggle several clients, several partners at the same time. My second challenge was probably the geographical location, because being based in Asia with having my 100% of my clients in the US, I was thinking, how am I going to work with 10 to 12 hours difference with my clients? How are we going to be able to catch up on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? And so, yeah, it was kind of time and geographical constraint I was a bit worried about at the beginning.
And so you mentioned the US then. So you are predominantly all of your clients US based at the moment?
Yes.
Do you have any local? So 100%.
100%
Wow.
US based and 100% California based. So that's the biggest time difference I could have with leadership.
So how do you overcome that? Obviously, we have digital collaboration tools now, but obviously with the time difference, do you have anyone local in the US to cover that time zone difference?
Yeah, so the way it works is I build teams and I recruit people. So luckily I've got people working under me. So they are there in the US. I recruit in the US so they can fulfill the daily tasks and manage the day-to-day operations. And I catch up with them at the end of my day, in Asia, which is the beginning of the day for them. And I make sure that I catch up at least once daily with them so that they debrief me about what they have done the previous day and what's the plan for the coming day. I also use collaborative tools where I ask them every day to check in and check out so that when I wake up, the first thing I do is I go and I check their entry and see what they have done. And when it comes to cooperating and working with the owner of the business or the CEO or the C-suite executive in the company, I also make sure that I catch up with them at least once a week through Zoom conferences. So that makes me work a bit late at night, but that's necessary to be able to have those catch-up sessions with.
Wow. And I guess my next question for you was, it was going to be how's the fractional model been embraced in your country, so in Thailand? But if 100% of your clients are US based, that I guess leads me to a slightly different question, which is obviously in the US you've got companies like Chief Outsiders who are a fractional roster of marketing execs. You've also got CMOX. Why are American companies choosing you and Growth Connect rather than some of the local companies offering fractional leadership? Why is that? Is it a different value proposition? Is it a price difference?
Well, I want to come back on the previous point first, if you allow me, which is why my clients are all based in the US. To be honest, in Asia, the concept of fractional is not yet developed yet. We are kind of the first to market, so it's a bit difficult for us. When we meet people, I do a lot of networking and we do a lot of education. We educate people a lot about the role and the concept of a fractional leader. Most of them have never heard about it, but they are all very interested. So we start getting traction, but it's going to take more time for the model to move from Europe and from US to Asia. So, and that's the reason why all my clients are in the US at the moment. And why do they choose me or other marketers and strategists at Growth Connect? To be honest, the value proposition is the same. We are CMOs, we're strategists. We do the same job as would be based in UK or in France or in the US. But the fact that we are based in Asia and especially in Thailand, obviously we are able to charge a much lower price. And that's great value for money because we have the same background, we have the same training, we have the same knowledge, expertise. We do the same job, but for a much lower price than someone would be based in the US. So I guess that's the reason why they go for us.
So are there any sectors that you're speaking to who are really interested in and you predict they might be the first to embrace the model? Is it SaaS? Is it tech? Is it someone else?
I would say, technology companies, because they're always more advanced than other companies. They're always on the lookout for the latest technology, the latest trends. It's quite difficult for traditional businesses or businesses that are run in a traditional way. So I would say that we start to see a kind of wave coming up from the technology industry. And I think they will be the first to embrace the model in Asia, definitely.
And is that reflected in your US clients? Is it the same kind of tech companies embracing the model, or is it a mixture?
No, not necessarily, because in the US, I work with multiple industries. I work with SaaS companies, I work with tech companies, but I work also with law firms in the legal industry, which are traditionally run family businesses, lawyers, so not really digitally oriented. So US is a mix of industries.
And in terms of the business leaders that you're working with in your clients, obviously the fractional model is more developed in the US, so there's more familiarity. So how do the business leaders embrace you coming in versus the traditional route of hiring a full-time CMO or marketing director?
Well, first of all, I must say that for this partnership to work, you need to have a business leader, whether it's a CEO or the company owner, the founder, who's very open-minded about the business model, because this is something new. Even in the US, it has only picked up for a couple of years. And it's not always easy to think that you have someone or you're going to work with someone at a very strategic level, who is not really 100% part of your company, who is working with other companies, sometimes with other businesses in the same industry. So you need to have a very open mind. And luckily, all my clients are extremely open-minded. They embrace the model right from the start. And at the end of the day, it's more they're trusting the skills. It doesn't matter whether you work 25% of the time, 50% of the time, 10% of the time with them and for them. They trust your skills. And if you deliver on your promise, if you show results, it doesn't matter whether you are a full-time employee or whether you are fractional. That's all that matters to them. It's the results.
And how are the businesses integrating you into the organization? Because obviously with the traditional route, there's an onboarding process, isn't there? There's normally a 3 or 6 month probation period.
Mm-hmm.
You're integrated into the business. You go around all the different functions. You have internal training. As a fractional leader coming in, you're kind of jumping in at the deep end, aren't you? How are you being integrated into the organizations that you work with?
Whenever I start with a new client, whenever I join a new company, I always have a kind of 90 days period, the first 3 months where my objective is to know as much as possible, as much as I can about the business, the industry, the services they are selling, the competitors. So I really try to become part of this company, think like this company, and really embrace their industry, the brand, the services. It happens gradually. Of course, I'm not becoming an expert after a few weeks, but after 3 months, I start having a pretty fair amount of knowledge about who they are, what they do, and to whom they sell. And from their side, they totally integrate me as, I would say, as a normal employee, because I get access to all the tools that they have. They create accounts for me on the CRM systems, on the professional tools. They even create an internal email address for me. So when I communicate with someone outside of the organization, I communicate as Sofiane, Chief Marketing Officer of company ABC. So no one outside the organization knows that I'm a fractional, because I'm acting and I'm behaving and I'm working really as someone who is part of the company and internal.
And in terms of the type of clients you have, what is the marketing context of those clients? So do your clients, have they already got established marketing teams? Are they large? Are they small? Or do they have no one at all? Are you the sole marketing person?
Yeah, so I would say that so far in 100% of the cases, at least for me, it's companies that don't have a marketing organization, that are growing at a steady pace, but that are doing a bit of marketing, maybe through freelancers, through agencies, but that don't have any underlying strategies, and most importantly, don't have any internal marketing. And they come at a point of the growth where they cannot rely on external partners to do the marketing. They need to have marketing living inside the organization. And that's why they embrace the fractional CMO model, because they want to have someone who's going to come for a limited period of time, build their marketing organization. And that's what I do. I not only develop and create marketing strategy, I also recruit teams. I recruit people, I train them, I mentor them, I coach them. And at the end of the day, I recruit my replacement, so someone who's going to come as a full-time marketing director and CMO and replace me, so I can move on to my next.
And that for me is a really interesting way of looking at this. I've been listening to several fractionals over the last few months, and many of them talk about part of their value proposition is to go into the business for not necessarily all the time, but they're a stepping stone. They are there as a bridge to get the marketing operations to a certain level and to a point where they can exit. So they will bring in a full-time person to replace them.
100%. Right from the start, I tell them that I'm not here to last. My assignment is limited in time, and I'm here to build the organization, to put in place a strategy, to recruit people, and to recruit my replacement. So they know right from the start that I'm not going to be here forever. And that also put them at ease, knowing that there is someone temporary can be a couple of months. Some clients have been staying for longer than expected. Some clients I've been working with for 2 years now. But they know that at the end of the day, I'm not going to be here forever. And the beauty of the model I've implemented and the model we have created with Gross Connect is that we have developed tiers of engagement, going from the highest engagement tier, where I work for 50% of my time for a client, where I call myself a fractional CMO, down to the lowest engagement tier, where it's about 10 to 15% of my time, and where I'm more of a marketing advisor who is there floating around and here to advise them whenever they have questions or whenever they want advice on something. And the way it works is that I usually enroll them, onboard them on the highest tier. And over time, as things get implemented and as the team gets recruited, I downgrade up to the moment I become just a marketing advisor. And then I can just totally offboard them and disappear when they don't need me anymore.
That's a really smart way of doing it. And it makes sense because, again, if you're the CEO or a CFO of an organization and you're looking to bring in that marketing expertise at the CMO level, you've got the choice of that traditional route of having someone full-time. But with this fractional model, it's nice because you can have someone come in on a part-time basis using a fraction of their time. And I guess your expertise becomes less as the relationship builds, gets longer.
That's the point. The point is not to stay forever. Otherwise, I would keep a job as a full-time CMO in a company. My objective is to come build up marketing capabilities within a business, and once the job is done, moving on to my next assignment.
And when you're developing your business over in the US, what's the biggest misconception that they have of the fractional model? Do you hear the same kind of thing or the same kind of challenge or objection coming your way? What are those and how do you overcome them?
There are two types of misconception. One is that we are going to be the people who are going to implement and do the implementation. So we have to, and I really strive to correct that from the beginning. I'm here as a C-suite executive. I'm here at the strategic level. I'm not the one who's going to run campaigns. I'm not the one who's going to do ads campaigns. I'm not an SEO specialist. I'm not a copywriter. I know sufficiently enough about all those topics so I can recruit or work with people who are going to do the implementation in those fields. But I'm not an executing person. I'm a strategist. So that's the first misconception I really make sure I fix right from the start. The second misconception, I would say that they tend to believe that we are consultants rather than part-time employees. So I also like to make a differentiation between the job of consultant, which is someone who is coming to do an audit of the situation, an assessment, and give them a deliverable, and then tell them, okay, you're on your own now. My job is finished. You implement. My job goes beyond that, the work of a consultant, because not only I give them the solution and the blueprint, but I also help them execute this blueprint or the strategy.
That's really interesting to know. Is there a minimum size of company where this model works better? Because there might be some startups that, there might be a CEO or a business owner of a small startup with 5 or 6 employees, probably turning over £500,000, $500,000. And I think I need a fractional CMO. In your perspective, is there a certain revenue size of company that this model fits perfectly for?
Yeah, that's a good point, Paul. And I would say that you need to be working with companies that are generating already a couple of million of dollars in terms of turnover. So I would say that $3 million is probably the minimum. And I would say above 6 million is the sweet spot. The reason why is because, of course, they have to be able to afford my fee. And that's still, even though I'm a fractional, that's still a fee of a top executive. Even though I'm based in Asia and I'm costing less than an American-based executive, that's still a considerable amount. But not only my fee, because then I'm here to recruit a team. So there might be anything between 1 to 5 people. So that's more wages that they will have to afford. And once we have recruited the people, we need to have the funds for the marketing budget, which probably a couple $1,000 additional. So yeah, you need to be already in a good position financially and a decent growth level to be able to hire a fractional. And sometimes I tell prospects that, look, I don't think it's going to be worth it, because I always give them a projection of how much they're going to be spending in the coming months and in the coming years. And once they see the numbers and that it doesn't add up, they also realize most of the time by themselves that, okay, I'm not in a position to hire a fractional because I won't be able to afford everything that's related to the work I'm going to do.
So I guess there's a revenue point where this model works, but there's probably also an ambition piece as well, isn't there? Because the business has to be in kind of that growth trajectory. That the business needs the ambition. The bit that's missing is the expertise, the marketing capability to get the business from A to B to C. So in terms of if there's any business leaders listening to this, what advice would you give to a CEO who's considering introducing a fractional leader into their business?
I would say be curious, try to learn more about the fractional model, because for me, it's the future. So it's going to be more and more fractional in the future. Be curious, be open to it, give it a try. Speak with a couple of people. Don't always stick to one option. Speak with a couple of people, see the different ways of working. Probably maybe people based locally, be people based abroad, like you and myself. Yeah, but be curious and be open-minded. It's the same way, when internet came into our life, we embraced it. We were curious about it. We saw that it could be beneficial to us. It was something new at that time. So that would be my advice. Just give it a chance.
You mentioned earlier it's a new model, particularly where you are in Thailand. So where's the fractional leadership model going to be in 5 years? Is it here to stay? Where do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's here to stay, and I think the pandemic obviously has changed a lot of things in the way we're working. People want more flexibility. People want to be able to spend more time with their family, to be able to work from wherever they are. See, I'm the perfect model. I'm based in Thailand. I work for American based businesses, and with the technology we have nowadays, there's no obstacle to that. I think this model is gonna grow. Like I said previously, I do a lot of networking and I meet a lot of top executives, and a lot of them are towards the end of the career. They don't necessarily want to retire or step out from their role, but they want to be in a position where they can balance better their family or their personal time with their work time. I totally decide how much I want to earn, how many hours I want to work in a week or in a day. And I think that's one of the reasons why this model is here to stay, because it gives a lot of flexibility to people who have been working all their life, sometime for a company, and who are not ready yet to retire, but want to have a kind of transitional period before they go full retired.
So Sofiane, that last point you made just made me think about, is there a right or wrong age for someone to become a fractional CMO? Could someone, let's say in their late 20s, become a fractional CMO?
Based on my own experience, I think that to be a fractional leader, you need to have been a leader before. So you need to have a bit of background. I don't see myself being a fractional at the beginning of my career, because I was still learning the ropes, learning learning about marketing, learning about managing people. To be a leader, you need to be to be able to manage people, and that's not a skill that you usually have at the beginning of your career. So I don't see someone becoming a fractional leader before, I would say, 10 to 15 years experience, which is what happened for me. I think that's a really minimum requirement.
No, I think you're right there. I think it's it's the expertise thing. They say that to become an expert in something, you need 10,000 hours of knowledge and practice. And I think until you have that level of knowledge of an industry, of leading people, of setting strategies, of delivering transformation, it will be very hard for someone in the very early part of their career to badge themselves as a fractional CMO. So I think you're totally right there. Yeah. So Sofiane, we're just drawing to a close now. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about Growth Connect?
Growth Connect is a network of fractional CMOs. We created the network in Thailand. We are all based in Asia at the moment, but we are open to people also based in other parts of the world. And what we do is we do the work of fractional executives. The only thing is that we are really focusing on marketing strategy. And yeah, we also double down as a peer group, because we all work with different industries, with different clients. Some of the members of Growth Connect have actually clients in Thailand or in Australia or in other parts of the world. So we also share, we try to have a kind of a sharing experience between us about the ways of doing the job of fractional in different parts of the world or with different industries. We share our successes, we share our failures. So yeah, that's a peer group of fractionals based in Asia.
Is it kind of the first of its kind in that region, or are you seeing more companies or similar organizations setting themselves up to compete?
We see similar organization, but more in the Western world, so in the US or in UK, for example. But in Asia, we're kind of the first one to do that. We see a lot of independent fractionals, but no one who has managed to gather forces and resources into a network the same way we have done it.
I wish you the best of luck with that. That's probably a good point to close the show. So if you've been listening or watching this episode, I hope you find value from the discussion and you've been inspired by Sofiane's story and journey. In the next episode, I'll be speaking to a fractional leader from the US, so stay tuned for that one. Sofiane, thank you again so much. I've really enjoyed hearing about your journey, and I wish you the best of luck in both your personal fractional career and also with Growth Tech. So thank you and enjoy your time in France.
Thank you, Paul, for having me.